Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Carrie's Gardening Channel. Today is April the 22nd, and we have one of our potato here, and we just bought these. These are seed potatoes. It's a northern red, and we're going to be taking the eyes off here so we can plant potatoes. Now, you can plant potatoes up to about the end of June, and I'm in Pennsylvania, so we're actually starting ours early for our area. And I'm in about, I believe it's zone 5. So that's what zone I'm in. And I'm going to show you here how to cut these off here. So we have one of the potatoes here, and you can see that's one of a more developed eye. That's when there's a little smaller. And what you do is you take a slice and you cut a chunk of the potato out. And then you just go on and cut the rest of them out. You do want to leave some of the potato on. You don't want real thin peels. And you can see here then what the sprouts look like.
And then we let them out in the sun to dry for a little while, or dry them a little bit before we plant them to get these ends to heal over.
So we'll be putting these out in the sun then. I don't know if you heard my dad. He was saying, but we're going to be putting these out in the sun for a little while to let them dry over and get a callus over them to try and help prevent them from rotting. And potatoes need about 100 days in the ground to give. It depends on the variety. There are different varieties out there. There's some long day potatoes. Sorry about that. I was about ready to say tomatoes. There's some long day potatoes, and there are some short day potatoes. And I do have info on that, which I can put down in the bottom.
And you can eat the rest of the potatoes.
Another benefit of it is you can eat the rest of the potatoes.
Nothing wrong with them.
So
no chemicals on them.
These don't have any chemicals on them because they're seed potatoes. So what we do is we just put them in bags, we label them, rinse them off, and then you can cut them up and put them in your whatever you choose to use them. If you want to cook with them, bake with them, however you choose to use them.
We've been doing this method for over 30 years, and the family before that's been doing it. By cutting the eyes out. Some people plant the whole potato. I don't like to do that because a lot of times potato will rot because of the whole thing itself. The potato, when it sprouts out, is what gets its nutrients out of the ground then from the roots. This is just a little helper starter basically to give a little bit of energy, but it don't need the potato itself to grow. It just needs a little bit of the meat. That's it. Sometimes I skin them a little skinnier than this yet, but it's a good size is a chunk like this. And you just let them. We usually let them sit out and try to turn them the bottom side up, or either cut them the day before and just let them sit out so they dry over on here. That way they won't, they have a tendency to rot quicker if they're still wet, really wet on here. But this would like scab over, and we just find that it keeps them from rotting. It depends on the year too. If you really get a wet year, you still could lose some.
And it also depends on the variety. Some varieties keep after you harvest them longer and better than others. So you'll definitely want to check your varieties when you select your seed potatoes to make sure you're going to get something that is either going to last a while, or if you want something that you have to use right away. So we're going to let these dry, and when they're finished, I'll come back and I'll show you what they look like.
If you get a potato like this, it has the spots already in it. If you let that in, it most likely would rot the whole way through before the potato would start to sprout. There's a little sprout. It's really brown, but we're going to just put it in because you never know, it might still grow. So we're just going to take that off and let it like that. But try to cut all the bad stuff out, because if you're going to eat them, you don't want that in anyway. So.
Okay, this is something I want to show you is on one of our seed potatoes that we got. This potato is green, which means it got sunlight or sunburn. Yeah, we've actually had them turn colors green in our basement just from regular lights. So you don't want to eat the green part. Definitely either peel it out, cut it out. But the green part is actually like a poison. And people have gotten sick from it already. So definitely, if you have like green potatoes or something like that, cut it out. If they're really green, don't even eat them. So yeah, you can use them for planting, it won't hurt that, but I wouldn't recommend eating them. So these potatoes here, they've been cut. You can see the sprouts on the top, and we're laying them out here to dry. And if you have like a few potatoes, this works pretty good. If you have a whole lot more potatoes, you might want to cut them like 1 or 2 days before to let them dry, because you definitely want to make sure that they dry and this callus is over. So we have some of them right here.
Keep them from rotting sometimes.
And yeah, we found that's the best way to try and keep them from rotting. Nothing's 100% perfect, so you can still run into some issues, but this works much better than if you just don't dry them and throw them in. That's going to be really bad if you do that. So just make sure that your tops here, or your bottoms of the potato here, are facing up so that it gets a nice even drying thing. Okay, so we have some of our rows started here. We go down through, and we have a lot more than this. Now you want to plant your potatoes about 2 inches deep. Yes, this hole is deeper than 2 inches deep, because what you do is after you put your potatoes in, you cover them about 2 inches, and then when they start coming up, you take the excess dirt and you start putting it around the stems. It's called hilling them up. That helps to prevent your potatoes from getting sunburnt. And depending on what varieties you grow, they'll shoot new shoots off, so you'll have more potatoes. And when you select your ground for potatoes, you want well-drained soil, and you want your ground to be nice and soft, because that'll help for the potatoes to be able to produce. And another thing for your soil, you want your pH for potatoes to be between 4 and 6. So we did add some sulfur to this to get the pH down more, and I'll be showing you what plant food we're going to be putting in with these then. So this is the plant food that we're going to be using. It's Expert Gardener all-purpose plant food. You can use it for flowers, vegetables, shrubs, and trees. It's a 6-10-10. Now this one here, it's not organic. Normally we try and go with organic plant foods, but we don't have that one right now. I know Organic Gardening makes one. It's called Root Crops Alive. I've never personally tried that one, but from the plant foods that I have tried from them, they do seem to really work. I'll leave a link down below for that if you're interested in it. So we're going to start putting some of this in then. So it's actually going to be raining for us today, and we're trying to beat the rain to get the potatoes in, and we don't have time to get the organic stuff, so we're just going to have to use this for now. Okay.
Spread it through.
We're spreading the fertilizer through. Now you definitely want to wear gloves when you use this stuff. We're just taking it down through, and we're going over to the next row. And the ground is really soft, so I'm actually even sinking in it, so you don't want to really walk in your ground too much. It's all nice and tilled up. So that's how we put down our plant food. Okay, so we have this plant food in here. About 2 handfuls does about a 27-foot row. And you definitely want to make sure that you work it in really good here. So I'm going to try this on camera. I don't know how well it's going to work here, but we're going to try it. Because you don't want to burn your roots. And I always say that it's better to underfeed than to overfeed. Because once you burn your roots, you're usually pretty much done. So we're going to work this in here really good. And then once I have it all worked in, we'll come back and we'll show you how to plant. So this is one of our potatoes here, and it's calloused over. So we're going to start planting them. Whoops, sorry. We're going over a fist apart. Now that's going to vary depending on from person to person because everyone is different. And we have the plant food mixed in. So we're just putting the potatoes in right now. You want to kind of put them on top of the ground and make sure that they make nice contact with it. There's a good one. Okay. Down there putting them in. So when we get these all done, we'll come back and I'll show you what to do next. Okay. So we got our potatoes planted here. We got 10 rows and we did like 7 different varieties. We might see if we can pick up a couple more varieties there. And we did some of the whites, we did some yellows, and we did some reds.
Each row is about 21 feet.
So each row is about 21 feet. We still have some of our plant food left over from that 4-pound bag that we started with.
So you don't put too much on.
So you don't want to put too much on. So now we're going to start covering them here. So we're just taking some from the sides of the hills and we're just going down through and we're covering up the potatoes. So that's one row done. And you want to make sure that you label your rows.
We have grass that we bagged from last year we had on the cow.
So we have grass here. That's what he was saying, that we have on this pow here. We bagged it last year, and we're going to be putting some of that over top of it.
Around the sides.
So we're just sprinkling some grass from last year around the sides.
Just gives them more food when it comes up.
Gives them more food when it comes up.
Plus protects the frost, in case we get a late one.
And it helps protect frost. I don't know if you can hear him or not, so I'm just telling you, it helps protect against frost in case you get a late one.
Well, we're putting these in early, but we have limited time that we can do things, so that's why we're doing it like this. And we had them freeze off in May already, and don't get worried if they do freeze. It won't hurt the potato underneath. It will make the stalk more hardy and you'll get more potatoes out of it actually. So if you do plant them and they come up early and they freeze, don't dig them out, just let them go. You'll see them sprout back up through. Just a word of advice that we found out. I've been doing this for 40 some years myself, and my father used to do it for, so this tradition's about 100 years old. And it works.
So this is actually a potato that we found in here from last year that we missed. The tiller actually found it and chopped it to pieces. But as you can see, this potato is still good. And here's a piece, another piece that it chopped. And we found a red one that it chopped up. So we missed some of these last year. And
we'll have some coming up.
We'll have the ones that we missed, they will sprout. So this is one here that just, we missed it, and as you can see, it's not rotted, it's not molded, It doesn't have that stinky ground smell that you get. And so yeah, it's still good. We're gonna have it tonight with supper. So here's another one of our rows here. This is a red, one of the red potatoes. And I'll tell you later on then which varieties we planted and stuff. And over here's, I think these are the Yukon Golds over here. So we're going to be labeling these. I have more stuff to do here until before the rain comes. So I'll be back. So this is the row here that was covered with the grass clippings from last year. If you get any of the icky black stuff, just throw it off to the side. Okay, so I'm back, and some of the grass was a little too wet, so we couldn't put it on. We'll just put it on later. And we have a spring that naturally runs on the property, so we're going to be adding those soaker hoses then, and we use that to irrigate this. And we did, trying to think, but I just wanted to show you this here. And I can put a link down below for those soaker hoses too. And we did some Norland reds, some Yukon Golds, we did some russets, we did katahdin, Superior White, and Sheflin Red. Shefton Red, sorry about that. So, make sure you label them as you're planting them. It works much better. So that's how we plant potatoes. So if you like my video, please like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, you can leave them below. I'll try and answer them for you. Please don't forget to hit that little notification button. That'll tell you when I put a new video on. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye.